Well, good evening, everyone. Hey, Linda Anderson here from Linda Lou Creates. Thanks so much for joining me. I wanted to share some very simple cards, and on all of them, I use the candy cane background stamp. Such a fun one. I am such a big user of pattern paper that I thought it was about time to start using my stamps to create my own backgrounds. But why, when I already have one stamp that's going to do that for me? So I'm going to show you how I did these, but be ready. Like I said, they're quick. All right. So this first one, I am going to grab my supplies. I have a card base that's the thick white. Let me just move that out. And believe it or not, it was because I had a stack of these already cut and scored. This is 5.5 by 8.5. So I guess I should do that this way. 8.5 by 5.5. 4 1/4 is the score. Usually this is a top folding card for me, but like I said, I had several of these white backgrounds, so I thought, why not use it? I'm using Garden Green. 4 by 5 1/4. All right. Now my sentiment strip, it is 4 1/4 long, and then the width, it's not quite an inch. It was just enough to fit that sentiment in, and that one comes in this encircled in warmth. This is out of the mini catalog, the holiday mini catalog. So that is in that. I have a little piece here of the mini ruffled real red ribbon. Say that 5 times fast. Anyway, I am going to go ahead. Let me go ahead and get that going so it has a chance to dry. So let me just put a bead of my liquid glue right along here. Try not to get too much, even though it started out kind of thick. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I cut it longer, and then I figured I can always then come back in and, trim it down. But I'm just going to put this whole piece of ribbon and then come back to the front. And this is the beauty of the liquid glue. I can adjust it to where I want it to be. I want just those little ruffles showing and not much more. So while that is getting a chance to dry, I'm going to set it aside so that it does have that chance. So I'm just going to put a couple acrylic blocks on it and we're good to go. All right, I'm actually going to move this again because I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. I do like using that for the bigger stamps like this. So here it is. I have the large background stamp on there, and I'm going to just go ahead and pop this hinge in. Now I do like to put something underneath. I just happen to have a roll of ribbon here sticking it by my desk. So I'm going to just go ahead just to give it, whenever I tap on it with the ink, which I put away. I guess I shouldn't have. I need to get that out. And so that I'm not doing any undue stress here on the hinges. Now I have my grid paper in there, and I just kind of slapped my stamp down. Now here's a trick I read about or saw. Go ahead and put it. It's not imperative, since this design, these candy canes are kind of random. But I would go ahead and I put it face down, my cardstock face down on top of the stamp. And instead of trying to slam the lid shut, I am going to get the base on my grid paper. I already have a little bit of adhesive that I just put on there, okay? So that when I shut the lid, ta-da, there it is, exactly where I want it because of how I lined it up with the stamp itself. All right, I love tone on tone, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. So that means Garden Green is going to be my ink to go along with my Garden Green cardstock. So because I have the Stamparatus and I don't plan on moving my cardstock until I am 100% satisfied. See, I'm thinking I might want to do that again. you can do that. That is the beauty of this stamp positioning tool, that you can just stamp it over and over again as long as nothing moves. So let me see now what two stampings look like. Perfect. I love it. All right, so there it is. There is my background. Okay. Now let me just go ahead and pop that closed for a moment while I finish up this card. Like I said, don't blink because this one's going to go quick. So I'm going to go ahead and get my background down. You could, if you needed to mass produce, you could do just that. And that's why I like this, the Stamparatus as well. I can just, you know, chug those out in no time. So once you get your design made, just go ahead and make multiples of them, especially at this time of year. So, all right, so there's my card base. Let me check on my sentiment, see if that ribbon is dried, and it has. Now, I'm going to find my scissors, trim this off. I'm going to kind of cut into the ribbon a little bit on the back, just so it's not sticking out here. So, all right, and there we go. Next step, dimensionals, and no doubt I have them somewhere here. Oh, okay, doke. So here we go. Let me go ahead and get those on. One more. I am the queen of dimensionals, and there we go. All right. I did not put any on top of the ribbon. The ribbon will hold with just the glue, the liquid glue. I'm concerned that it might not allow the dimensional to be flat, if that makes sense, and then it'll make it kind of wonky then on my card. Now, because this is 4 1/4 wide, the sentiment strip, it's going to go all the way across the card. So keep that in mind. I do like it up the upper third of the card. I'm going to pull out some of these wonderful gems, my Picket tool, and these wonderful gems have a touch of glitter in them. And there we go. There's one on the sentiment. I kind of like that look. Quick and easy, something, like I said, that could be mass produced without any problems. And yeah, you can always switch it around, make the background here any color green, or you could even do red for that. So anyway, card number 1 is done. So let me bring out card number 2, which actually turns into 2 cards. So I guess cards 2 and 3. I stamped the background. I did it on green, the garden green. I did it on real red. Let me just show you then here the supplies. It's somewhere here, right in front of me. So my garden green, my real red are 3 3/4 by 5. The fact that it's 5 inches long, I did that on purpose because then I was able to cut 1-inch strips, and I got 5 of them. I did the same thing, garden green. All right, so the same idea. I stamped it, again, the same color of ink as the cardstock. Now, let me just show you one thing that I did in regards to that. So I'm going to bring back in my Stamparatus. And because I did not clean off my stamp, I'm going to go ahead and use the garden green again. All right. Now, I kind of know where, because of where this is, where it's located on here. So let me just set this down. I'll be able to figure it out. If I had cleaned off my stamp, I would do it again and set it down like I did before. But right now, I'm just going to put, like I say, 3 3/4 by 5. Let me just kind of, yep, it's going to cover. Now, before I go anywhere, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing this, I'm just going to mark in pencil I don't even know if I have you in the screen to be able to see that. I'm just going to do 2 opposite corners, and I'll explain why here in a moment. All right, so my garden green ink, it left me. No, here it is. I am going to go ahead, same idea, ink this up. And I've been finding that 2 stampings of it, if that makes sense, does me good. I like the results when there's 2 stampings of it. It comes out dark, and yeah, pretty perfect if you ask me. So, all right, so there's my 2 stampings. Let me go ahead this time now and clean my stamp. While I do that, I just have a quick rag here, a very dirty rag it looks like, huh? I did not do a very good job here, so let me get that clean. All right, there we go. Now, my green is good. It's done. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. I am also going to grab my real red ink to go along with my red piece of cardstock. This too is 5 by 3 3/4. I am going to line it up on my pencil marks. So I have it in pretty much the exact same spot that I had my green. All right. Because I have that adhesive on the grid paper, I'm able to then hold it in place that way. I'm also going to then ink this one up. Now, to get my 1-inch strips, let me hurry up and get this done so I can show you then what I did. I'm going to hurry. So, there's my 2 stampings. There's my awesome image. So, let me go ahead and close up my ink pads, because otherwise I know I will get something in them. I will, after the video, clean off my stamp, so don't worry about that. Let me put that aside. Next, I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer. Now, I have my 2 pieces of cardstock. I kind of eyeball it because they should be stamped exactly in the same place based on where I set it down on the grid paper using those pencil marks as my guide. So here, yep, this is the same direction here. I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 on top of each other. Let me pull out my paper trimmer. And I am going to go 1 inch, okay, and cut through both of them. I'm going to do this all the way down, and I will have then 5 1-inch strips, and I'm keeping them sort of in order, okay? And you don't have to. I found that I kind of preferred that, and which is odd because I am not the perfectionist when it comes to my stamping. I kind of am like, you know, close enough. But for some reason, I wanted my candy canes to line up whenever I adhered them down. So, and I'll show you what I mean as soon as I get this last one cut. All right, so here are my 5 1-inch strips. Actually, I guess they're 10. Let me bring them in. All right, so here we go. And here they are. So this way, when I go to put them down and adhere them down, they're going to line up. All right. See how this one is lining up? I'm going to go ahead and put this one down. I will exchange these two. This one adheres down here, 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 and here. Okay? So I just kind of look at it, and I like how it looks continuous, the impression or the stamping. And by doing it the way I did, by putting it in the Stamparatus and such, you can get it to come out that way. So, all right. So you will get 2 cards out of this. I seem to not have all of my pieces cut. So let me cut something here real quick. I have a piece of oh, here it is. The Whisper White, let me take that back, the basic white cardstock. This also measures 3 3/4 by 5 because I want to adhere these straight down onto here. I just find that I have better, I mean, I could put it straight down to the card base, but I do better if I have sort of a guide, so to speak. All right, so all it is now is a matter of getting it all put together like a puzzle. Just kind of remember the direction that you picked it up to put the glue on so that you adhere it down that way. And if you're not like dead on straight, don't worry about it. You always can trim it up to make it look you know, nice, that you don't have any of the white showing from underneath. But I'm putting it on a white card base, so it kind of won't show. But actually I lied. I'm going to put a layer of gold underneath, so I guess it would show. So let's just get this all put down. And both of them are done the same way, so I'm only going to make one to show you. And last one. And like I said, if you have to do any trimming, you can certainly do that now. So I'm going to do just a little bit on this side because I feel like I have a little bit of white showing over here. So let me just get to my paper trimmer, get that trimmed up a bit, and there we go. All right, so there it is, trimmed that up. I'm going to adhere this down now to a piece. I love the brushed metallic cardstock. Sorry, I'm sure there's a glare, so I'm going to move that out of the way. The brushed metallic cardstock is what I'm using for this, and I will, now watch, there is going to be a glare, I'm sure, from my lights on this until I get it covered. So let me adhere that down. And then I have my card base. Like I said, like the previous card, it is the 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm going to adhere this down. The brushed metallic cardstock is just 1/8 of an inch bigger. So that means that it is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. Now, I have, let me just show you, first of all, the sentiment. It comes from the Sweet Little Stocking stamp set. And this beautiful die is the Encircled in Beauty. It's this one right here that I used. And I cut it out of white cardstock. I had a couple strips of the brushed metallic cardstock whenever I was making my layers left over. And this is like 3/8 of an inch. And so I used it. I'm like, let's just banner cut it, put it on the back, pop a few dimensionals on, and now I've got my sentiment. So let me get my dimensionals off, the paper off, and let's get this adhered down. I want to use a couple more of these wonderful gems because I do think they are wonderful. So let me find my Picket tool, and I am going to pop a few of these clear ones with the gold glitter in it. And let me put one up here. It comes in 2 different sizes. So, and then you can just pop them anywhere you want. There we go. So now here is the one card. And let me just show you then what the second card would look like here, where then it's the opposite color combination, so to speak. All right. So with this, you actually get 2 cards out of it. So perfect for needing to mass produce. So let me clean off my space, bring in all the cards, all 3 of them, that make use of that darling candy cane background stamp. So like I said, it's fun to use a background stamp. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, instead of pattern paper. That is so unlike me, I know. But anyway, well, hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I am very thankful for all of you, and I hope you have a great time with family, friends, and I will see you next week. Bye now.